right, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Minetest Gameplay of sorts. Yeah. And for other reasons, we are still out at the medieval world, which I'll explain in a moment. But first, we're going to take a look around. I added a whole bunch of trees out here, trying to start to get this area all filled in. Because if I need to, I'll just remove a tree. Because there's going to be a couple more buildings going in. Possibly one right here. But we will see. So this is a sort of test video. And I will show you why. Because look at that. Oh, that did not. Wait, there we go. Boy, I'm professional. Yes, I am. This is my laptop, and as you can see, it is not running Windows. It is running Ubuntu Linux. There it is, Ubuntu 1904. And it's a ThinkPad E485. 16 gigabytes of RAM, Ryzen 5 with Vega Mobile, and another hard drive in it. So basically, I'm going to do a video on this after I iron out some audio and video issues with OBS and get everything running. Now I got to get back to my, there we go. Wow, that was smooth. Yes, I know I could have hotkeys set up for this, but I was playing with everything, and I just need to get the audio and video and the window placements, because the screen on here is not a normal size. I had a question in the comments, and a new user wanted to know what texture pack I'm using. And I put links to the John Smith texture pack for 5.0, Pixel Perfection, and how I did it. And so I kind of don't want to keep rehashing it, but basically the texture pack that I'm using is I'm using most of the John Smith texture pack. Now, as you can see here, this is default stone. So the stone and stone block are actually from the Minetest default. And the rocks, the cobblestone, and the stone brick are from Pixel Perfection. Along with a lot of other stuff, like the flowers are from Pixel Perfection and stuff like that. So all you have to do is write down, as you can see, I have debug turned on. So it tells me that this block here is default stone block. So I took the textures from the default and just added them into, I made a texture pack called John Smith Modified. And I replaced all the textures that I didn't like with the ones that I did like. And they're all labeled. So when you go into the texture pack, you could see, like this one's marked cobble. Then you have cobblestone, and you have brick. These are all cobblestone, but you have, here we go, stone brick, which is the Pixel Perfection one. The cobblestone is from Pixel Perfection, and they were just copied and overwrote the John Smith ones. So this way, I get the best of all the different texture packs that I want to put in there. And then I have my own graphics and stuff like that. And a lot of the mods, if you install the mods and you go in there, you can pull out, sometimes in the mods, there will be an extra folder. So they'll have the 16 by 16 textures or 32 by 32. And like I did on my modern world, which I started playing with again because I have another problem to overcome. Look at that chandelier. I put in some more lights. We're going to take a closer look at that because this is done. I put in all the wood inserts, which kind of added more contrast. I used all the red stained glass windows in the bottom, and then I left the back ones because I kind of like those. I don't want to replace those. So from here, you can look up and you can see this massive chandelier. And all that is, I just went crazy with it. As you will see in a moment. And that's, because if you mess up and you don't like it, you just remove it. It's not like it's the end of the world. It's not like it's a piece of canvas that you can't, redo. So I just added some more chains coming from the top to make it more plausible, and then added all the lanterns on top of the wooden posts. And then the chains came from Home Decor. I used the brass colored chains because the other ones just kind of blended in too much, and they stand out really, really nice. And then I just placed the lights wherever I wanted to give the effect that I wanted to give. And I think I'm gonna do some more touch-ups with it and stuff like that. But for the most part, like I can go off the top here to the sides and really make the the top of this thing bow out, or what's the word I'm looking for? You want to, because the chandelier is always going to be larger at the top. So I can come out like this. I can come down. Your imagination, and I know I keep saying that, but your imagination is what is going to hold you back. Or see, we got a chain off of here, so we can just keep putting. Let's put 2 chains on here, maybe 1 here, and it would help if I had the light picked. And now we just added a little bit more. See, now that one is not necessary, but I do like, it's too equal. So let's do this. Let us just use 1. I said 1. I've been doing that a lot. Oh, I like that. I like it. Doesn't matter. It can be redone. And that's usually what I end up doing is just continuously touching up to the point of right to that magical point of where you go, yeah, it's a little bit too much. So now let's go back over here. That fills out. I think that's what it was missing, because the top part should be more than the bottom part. Let's go down here and take a look at it. I know in real life, you see that looks a lot better because you have a more grander top coming down. So that is the stage setup. Oh yeah. And just that little bit of addition made it work. Oh, I forgot the weather. It's a beautiful 64 degrees. It just stopped raining in Chicago. So hopefully it will stay dry so I can go get ice cream later. I like it. So this part is done. And I could put some banners. What do you call them? Not banners. The tapestries up over there. That will do nicely. So there's a couple more houses that I want to go in. I got to do something with this area in here because it's too bland. Oh, there's my firefly. And I definitely have to start working on this path. So let us see what we got here. What I'm thinking about doing is, I don't know what I'm going to do. Stone brick. And then I wanted to curve. See how, if we could just play with this a little bit. So I am completely running on Ubuntu. I have, like I said, I put in a 500 gig hard drive, not a hard drive, an SSD. 500 gig SSD that was on sale over the Father's Day weekend. Now I have to start curving this because I want to make this, they would walk down this path to the garden over here, and then it's going to start curving, kind of curving around here. And it is a Samsung 500 gig SSD, and I added an additional 8 gig of memory, which brings this beast up to, I kind of like that. And I might replace that with a wall of sorts. And so I am up to 16 gig of memory. So it's taking advantage of the dual channel setup. And the second SSD, and it was so easy to replace, to add the SSD in this computer. So basically on Lenovo's, there's 8 screws in the bottom. And you see, here's where it's going to get kind of dicey. There's 8 screws in the bottom. And after you pull the bottom plate off, there are, you see, this is where I want to end the path. There are, there's a drive caddy in there for the set, if you want to put a hard drive in or another SSD like I did. So there's all that. It literally took 10 minutes to put the SSD in and the memory. And when it booted back up, it immediately saw everything. Didn't have to do any playing with it. I lost the ability. Oh, it's working now. I just keep throwing stuff out here. And I needed that fence. Oh well. So, I'm picking up loads of stuff. So this is where I want 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I still have a lot of work to do with circles. So here we want to go. I don't want to make this real pretty since we're using stone. So what all this is doing here is it's like creating a little step down. I think that'll do. So up here, there's going to be a multitude of flowers put in, and that's why I'm going to edge this out with some bricks here. But I wanted to do it. I want to see how this is going to look. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I think I'm going to have to put something in the bottom. To make this all fit in. So if you see this video, that obviously means everything went okay. Oh, what did I just do? I put cobble. It's not cobble, it is stone brick. And I should have just, well, I should have done this while I went along. But since this is a path for the castle, ooh, that looked kind of cool too. So the effect that I'm trying to pull off here is having a sort of rail. Let's see how I can do this real quick to make this good. Plus, this is a test for this laptop. So I need to do one more. So right now, theoretically, I'm beating the death out of this thing. Let's see, I'm only using, this is something. I'm recording at a bit rate of 45,000 for H.26. Oh, that looked even better. I kind of like that. So for a bit rate of 45,000 to an MP4 file, and it's recording the full size. I have to work on talking and doing stuff at the same time because I keep losing my train of thought, and I know that's kind of annoying. So what this is doing here is I'm only using, if I look over at the OBS screen, as I picked the wrong block. And the cool thing is I have the dual monitors set up. So this thing is screaming along nicely. Now you see it kind of, it's not bad. It should, you know what it should do? It should go back. So we are going to do that real quick. But there we go, stone brick. So for the whole purpose of this is just to build and see how this is going to look. Now I'm going to reface these all the same way because you'll see that the textures are. See, I'm not digging that look, but we're not going to know until I get completely finished. There, that kind of makes that look better. And we want to leave that. I like it. I think along here, another thing that would work is the facade blocks. And then put an extra little lip on here. I think I will go with that. But for right now, we're just going to see. Hi, Mr. Chicken. So a person's going to come out here. They're going to walk down this path, and this whole hillside is going to be nothing but bushes and plants. That will look cool. So let's grab some forest soil. And yes, exactly. Forest soil number 1, I think we'll do. Or 2. Or we'll just take both and just try them. That is for soil, dirt with leaves. I think what we could do is we can mix that up. The good thing about the forest soil is that the forest soil will not grow grass on top of it. So when the sunlight hits it, it's not going to change. So because I want to keep it this way, because there's going to be plants on here. So we're going to do this little area over here. Just to see. Now, what do I want to put in here? Let's try roses over here. Another thing that would be neat, there's a rose bush. There's a rose. I need my shrubbery. I wonder how that rose bush will look. Okay. I'm not really good with, well, I like how that just eliminated the rose bush back there. Nice. And I want to make this as, so there's going to be a whole bunch of roses down here. I don't know if I have a whole bunch of different bushes, and then over, so let's take this one, let's just do another one, and then we'll call it a video, because I want to make sure that this turned out. And, you know, knowing my luck, what'll happen is it won't turn out, or I won't know. But all the test recordings I've done so far have worked pretty much flawlessly. So I have some issues I have to work out, especially in the video with the screen tiling. And let me see, I want to go with a different flower up there. So let's look at what we have here. So I have to work on the windows. I have to work on the audio and video. I think, well, the audio is pretty cool, is pretty close. You know, and this isn't complaining or an excuse by any means, but I am running like 20-year-old gear, and say what you will about Behringer equipment, a lot of audio professionals, you know, oh, Behringer is cheap stuff. This stuff has lasted. I mean, this stuff has been through hell and back, and you know, it outlasted a band and everything else. It's getting there. I have a lot more to do with I don't know. I have to fill in a lot more. But this area in here, it can't be haphazard. It has to be, you know, really done up, because this is basically the, what do you call it? This is basically like the grounds of the castle. And I'm going to redo the garden on the other side of the wall. So I'm not going to do much more. But what did I just do? Oh, I flew into the tree. Now, for this one, let's get rid of this shrub. Try some purple. So there's sort of a method to the madness here, but what are you going to do? Why is that one not? There we go. And it's only going to be this area over here. So, you know, over here, the rest of this will be like trees and such like that. And then down here is just going to be lawn. But over here, it's going to be the manicured garden. So I have to really make this, I have to make this look believable. And I have to do something about that. So that will be, you'll get to see the completed version of that. And then put some more up here, and then some trees and bushes up here to hide all that. So that is coming along nicely. And the only way you're gonna see that I put that tree too close. The only way you're gonna figure out is by doing it. See, there should be lower level flowers here, and then we'll call it a video, because that is where my thought is going to end. So down here we can do this, and that will pull it nicely together. So some of the things I have to work on this new laptop setup is I have to finish setting up my development environment on Ubuntu. I have all my IDEs, Atom, NetBeans, Eclipse, all that. See, that's looking really nice. And put some vines coming down here. Plus with it waving, that's cool. So that's gonna be the gardens, and it's gonna really bring this area to life without detracting from everything else. And then, like, I can make that more wilderness out there. But as for the gardens, you know, they're gonna come out, they're gonna look at it on this side. I'm gonna replace these with the facade blocks to make a real cool edging. I think that will look real nice. So I'm liking how that's looking so far. I am going to go with that. The other part is on here, my Modern World. I'm not going to be able to record it on this laptop because the Modern World will only work on 4.17. And this is where Windows and Mac have an advantage, because I have multiple copies of Minetest. I have 4.16, 4.17, and 5.01 on Windows and Mac. And then on Linux, I had a problem with the PPA for the Minetest developers, and actually found a Flatpak. So this is 5.01, 5.0.1 on a Flatpak. So I won't have to worry about that. But there's got to be a way in Linux where I can run two different versions of Minetest. And then I have to get a hold of, because the repository for the standard Ubuntu repositories are, I believe it's it's old. I don't even, it might be 4.16 point something repack it's called. So I have to look at that. Other than that, everything is working pretty good. I can get around in my Modern World, but there's some mods that will immediately cause it to crash, like Computer Deco, which is not updated to 5.0. If you right click on the screen to change the screen image, it'll immediately kill the entire game. And that's another thing for the Minetest game. If a mod gets a little flaky and it throws an error, it shouldn't kill the whole game. I could see it taking out the mod and throwing up an error, but it shouldn't kill the game. I mean, hard kill. So that's one of the things I want to look into about development, that there should be some kind of error catching, and so that it's not destructive. So that's one of the things I want to ask some of the developers. Other than that, I don't think there's too much more. Now, I do have KDE. That was a 500 gig SSD. Ubuntu takes up the first partition of 250 gigs. The second partition, I have KDE Neon 5.16. And that turned out really cool. It looks beautiful. I have everything set up the way I want it. However, it's one of those things where you look at it. I got for free. I had a coupon for a free 6-pack of this sparkling water with strawberry. And I looked at it and I went, wow, this is really cool. Everybody in my house likes sparkling water, except for me. So I twist the cap off, and, you hear it, you hear the gases escape, and you get this huge whiff of strawberry, and I'm like, and I take the cap off and I take a sip and I go, oh. It tasted like flat ginger ale. You can't even taste the strawberry. And that's what happened with KDE Neon. It's an older, this is the official KDE Neon from KDE. It's built off of Bionic. So it's a previous release, where this is Disco Dingo or whatever, 1904. So, there's things that, everything is okay in it, except for the second monitor. So the second monitor, when you have your sync off, it's not quite right. Like it should be at 72, but you have it at 60 or something like that, the refresh rate, and you get the center parts of the screen like bowing in, and it was doing that. And it doesn't do it on Ubuntu 1904. So I don't know how the different display managers are handling it. The compositors are handling it, but it's not playing well with the monitor. Ubuntu Bionic, or the Disco Dingo, it doesn't come out of sleep 100% correctly. However, KDE Neon does. So there's just little things. The great thing is when I went back to Windows, I had to get some files from the Windows partition, and my God, it felt slow. And the Windows 10 was faster than my Mac. And I put Ubuntu on there and Neon, and they fly. It screams. As you can see here, I mean, I'm not using more than, right now OBS is saying at 30 frames per second, the CPU usage is 5.4%. That's wild. So, yeah, I'm going to do a whole video on the upgrade process and take a walk around the operating systems and the pros and cons of it, and go from there. So thank you very much for joining. I know this is kind of a little bit of a bore episode, but this episode, it shows you what I was doing, and it's a major test for this laptop operating system. I'm trying to dial everything in, so thank you. I'm sure the person that disliked my last two videos, they'll dislike this one too. So thank you very much for watching. Until the next video. Goodbye.